There have also been a lot of updates with regards to India's mission evacuation. We're stepping up efforts to bring back stranded Indian nationals in Ukraine. The first batch of evacuees from Ukraine reached Romania via the Suceava border crossing. The Indian embassy in Romania will facilitate travel to Bucharest for their onward journey to India. The Indian Air Force, meanwhile, has put its fleet of C-17 and IL-76 transport aircraft on standby for evacuating citizens from Ukraine. The IAF is geared up for any requirements of evacuation of citizens from Ukraine. Importantly, today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also going to be chairing a meeting with the Cabinet Committee on Security on India's mission evacuation. Let's take this across to Lavina Tandon. She's joining us live from Bucharest in Romania. Lavina, a lot of hectic activity happening in countries like Romania right now because most of the Indian nationals are now moving to places like Romania from where they're being airlifted out.
Yes, indeed. And I'm standing with some budding medical students and doctors here who have come from one university, all girls, 49 to 50 girls who have reached Bucharest and are waiting for yet another 4 buses to arrive. And the Mumbai flight 1944, AI 1944 is at 9 a.m. So let me straight away go to these doctors and say, what journey have you had? What's your name, and tell me the kind of journey you've had to entail and what happened where you were.
My name is Rathod Damini. We are actually from Chernivtsi and our university is BSMU. So we have, like, in emergency, we have got to know that we have to pack all the luggage and we have to leave in 45 minutes. And in 45 minutes, we have to gathered all our luggage and bus was waiting for us. We just leave. We reached to Romania border. We gave our passport. We have got visa of Romania at the border. And after the 12 hours of journey, we have reached the airport.
Oh, and you're really looking forward to go back home.
Yes.
I can see that. Tell me what you saw. How difficult was it and how scary was it?
Yes, it was scary and tense for all of us. It was all of a sudden. We didn't expect something like this would really happen. So we were patient. The Indian embassy was really helpful. They were present at the border for us with all whatever we needed. We were provided with all the food and water what was required at proper intervals. And it was a tiring journey, but we are really glad that we are the first batch here. And it was so helpful and so kind of the Indian embassy that they were always present for us.
Brilliant. Tell me now, who are you most looking forward to go and meet, and what's the journey going to be like for you going back?
Actually, our parents are very tense. From the day the firing began, we thought there will be no war. But as soon as they were so tense, so we are so excited to just go and meet our parents.
Yes, of course, and of course, you can't wait to meet your parents. Can you tell me how many students are more expected coming here, and where all then you go?
Actually, there are some students who are coming, and 400 or students are left. But they will also come by 7 or 8.
We left as 400, like in batch of 240 and 240. Another 400 are left at our university who will be rescued soon in another coming one day, I think. Yeah, it will be done very soon.
Did you guys, any of you, witness any airstrike, which was... Yeah.
No, nothing as such. We didn't witness anything there. It was all safe and it was calm. The situation was calm, yet we were scared, but nothing as such happened.
Yes.
The Romania government was also really very much helpful. It's all because of the good relations of India, what we have now, and the Indian government.
Brilliant. Thank you very, very much. So these girls are now waiting here. Everyone is being served food. There are 4 more buses, Akshita, that are expected, and soon they will arrive. And the Mumbai flight is at 9 a.m. And then it is expected that a flight to Delhi from Bucharest will also leave. That could be at about 4 o'clock in the day, Romanian time. And after this, there is another evacuation operation that should happen from Budapest in Hungary.
All right, Lavina, thank you for that report and getting us those voices as well. Clearly, all those Indian nationals happy relieved that they're out of Ukraine and waiting to head back home, understandably so. Lavina, thank you for getting us those details. Now, in the course of our coverage here on India Today, we've been getting you a number of images that truly sum up the scale of devastation, that sum up the scale of this war in Ukraine. Here's one such image that came in here on India Today. What you're seeing here is a barrage recorded on camera in Kharkiv of Ukraine. And these images essentially tell you about how bad the situation is in places of eastern Ukraine, where there are in fact reports coming in of already a lot of barrages entering. You can see also this horrific moment in this particular footage. This is dash cam footage, as you see on your screens there. A driver narrowly missing a Russian bomb. So we're just going to play out that full sequence for you, where you can see exactly what's happening in Kharkiv. This is a person who's driving along the street, and in fact you can see several civilians, and this sums up for you how civilians also are at risk right now in places like Kharkiv. Eastern Ukraine, things are at this point very bad, as our reporters on the ground have also been telling us. This footage of a driver, dashcam footage of him narrowly avoiding a Russian bomb, is also gone viral. You can only imagine what residents, what Ukrainians are going through currently as they try to keep themselves and their families safe. Gaurav Sawant has been reporting for you from different parts of Ukraine and getting you a sense of what's really happening on the ground, how far Russia has managed to progress. He took a train journey from Mariupol in eastern Ukraine all the way to the capital of Kiev. Here's a look at this report that he filed on board that train of how Ukrainians are trying to find some hope in these difficult times.
There is tension in the air. We are on board a train that's going from Mariupol to Kiev, but we've been stranded at the railway station for several hours and we do not know when this train will move, but we can hear some music on board this train, and we are moving in the direction of this train. And we see this young man and this young woman playing a guitar, listening to some music and singing. Let's enjoy. That's really very nice.
Thank
What's
you.
your name?
Darina.
Daria. Daria, what do you do? Are you a student? Are you a singer? What do you do?
A singer.
You're a singer?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's your name, young man?
Pavel. Pasha.
Pasha. Your name is Pasha. Pasha, so are you a guitarist? What do you do? Are you a student?
Guitarist.
No.
Guitarist and student.
Guitarist and student.
Guitarist and student. And what song are the two of you singing?
What's
Здесь сейчас как будет?
this now?
Yeah?
Yeah. This name.
That's the name. This and Now.
Да.
And this and now, right now, in Mariupol, outside there's shelling happening. Boom, boom, boom. Are you scared?
Strange. This is very strange.
This is very strange.
Yeah.
So, are you kind of getting away from this? Are you going to Kiev? Are you going to stay in Kiev? Or you want to just leave and go somewhere?
In Kiev and next tent in Poland.
You want to go to Poland?
Maybe.
And are you from Mariupol?
Yeah. Yeah. It's from in Mariupol.
All right. So you stay in Mariupol, you're going to Kiev, and from Kiev you want to go to Poland.
Yeah.
Will you come back or you want to just leave?
Just leave.
Just leave. Forever.
Maybe.
Or for a long time?
Forever, maybe.
In the entire train, there are people who are here listening to this music only because it just helps reduce the tension. There is palpable tension because, one, there's bombing that's going on outside, and two, we still do not know whether this train will leave, and if it does leave, will it actually reach Kiev? With cameraman Pawan Kumar on board this Ukrainian train from Mariupol to Kiev, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.
And Gaurav Sawant will be joining us live also very, very soon here on India Today, getting you all the updates you need to know from ground zero on what's happening. Let me also tell you about the kind of international pressure that's building on Russia. You had the United Nations Security Council holding an emergency session again over the Ukraine-Russia conflict. The UN Security Council held a vote on a draft resolution that condemns Russia's aggression against Ukraine. It was sponsored by the United States and Albania and supported by several other nations. India abstained on the resolution and in their statement demanded immediate, complete and unconditional withdrawal of Russian forces from the neighbouring country. 11 countries voted in favour of the resolution. 3 countries, that's India, China and the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, chose to abstain. A permanent member of the Security Council, Russia, used its veto power, blocking the resolution. Western nations, however, said that the resolution seeks to show Russia's isolation on the global stage for its invasion and action against Ukraine.
Responsible member states do not invade their neighbors. They do not commit violence against their neighbors just because they have the ability to do so. That is the entire purpose of our international system. That is fundamentally the point of the Security Council and the United Nations. So, colleagues, this is a simple vote today.
I will not respond to those who just accuse the Russian Federation of abusing the veto right. Well, the main reason for our negative vote is not the fact that there is what is included in the draft, but what is left out. We are not waging a war against Ukraine or the Ukrainian people. We are carrying a special operation against nationalists and for the protection of the residents of Donbass, for denazification and for demilitarization. These objectives will soon be achieved, and the Ukrainian people will gain an opportunity to once again independently determine their future.
This was stated by the President of Ukraine, that we are open to negotiations on a permanent basis, and we have been saying that all along. It is you who killed Normandy 4. It is you who killed the Minsk agreements. All that gibberish about who said what and when in Normandy 4 by no means can justify the offensive. By no means can justify thousands and thousands of your troops on our territory. Your today's call of your president to the Ukrainian army to remove the government of Ukraine, are you crazy? Children of the ambassadors are proud of their parents. It's so painful to think what your family think about you when you lie every day. The Russian people deserve peace, democracy. The Russian people deserve liberty, and they will have it. If not tomorrow, because tomorrow is not possible, then probably in near future. Thank you.
Let's take this across to our Foreign Affairs Editor, Geeta Mohan Formo. Geeta, good morning. Just take us through, the highlights of that UNSC meet where the resolution was discussed. There's a lot of focus on India's stand. As expected, India abstained. And, there's been a lot of talk about how India finds itself in a rather tough, precarious situation right now, having to choose between Russia and the United States.
Well, it is a very, very tough position that India is in. Because not just about diplomacy, not just about the fact that there is a stand that India needed to take. And Akshita, in the past couple of days, we know that how India's Western partners were reaching out to India to make sure that this US-Albania-backed resolution at the UNSC was voted and there was consensus. We know that, when this US State Department spokesperson was asked, he said that there is going to be a loud voice against Russia at the United Nations Security Council. And so, yes, there was a louder noise from India's part. If you see the statement, India was a little more harsh, a little more strong on Russia. But when it comes to ground realities on voting, to side with one bloc and to isolate the other is not something that bodes well for India. India spoke for diplomacy and to come back to the negotiating table. That diplomacy is the only way forward, and differences can only be resolved by negotiations and through talks. So that's exactly what they did. Russia is a veto-yielding power. China also abstained. So there was no way that this resolution would have been passed. And in that, India had to choose whether if there is going to be a success of the resolution passing or trying to put a sane voice at the United Nations Security Council in all parties coming together to diffuse tensions, which is what India chose. A difficult position, I keep saying that, for India, because India cannot at this point in time take sides. There are many issues, Akshita. It's a very, very strange, very sensitive situation. That's why let's not draw comparisons, but there are many situations in the past where India has been in such a position, even when it comes to resolutions against other countries, the United States of America, the Western Bloc. And India, again, took a very sensible tone, a very sensible diplomatic line to speak of diplomacy, and diplomacy only being the way forward. Russia is a strategic partner. As the West engaged India, so did Moscow. There was the highest level conversation between Putin and Modi. Don't forget the kind of conversations that happened at the Western level were with the foreign minister, with the Indian leadership and the leadership in the West. But here, Putin called Modi and explained as to what is really happening. There is a note that Russia has sent to partners, to countries that were engaging Russia on what they're thinking happened in Donbass. So there's an entire explanation that Russia is putting out, no justification for which country is doing, but just saying that for India, it's a precarious situation, it's a difficult position, and that's the reason why the explanation on that vote clearly spells out that there needs to be cessation of violence, which India has clearly specified on, but also knowing very well that this UNSC resolution would not have passed anyway. The saner thing to do was to speak of how countries should come together and negotiate peace.
It's a tricky situation. There are many out there who are opining that India should take a stand, but there's a lot more here, a lot more aspects that meet the eye, and that needs to be considered as well in these kind of circumstances, which is why here in this kind of a resolution also, India chose to abstain, but yes, very clearly condemned the violence. Geeta, thank you very much for joining us with all of those details. And we'll be, of course, tracking all the reactions that continue to come in from across the world. Russia, of course, is going all out in invading Ukraine. They're hoping that today they're able to capture the capital of Kiev. Their military manpower, of course, is outnumbering Ukraine by more than 4 times. But the Ukraine army is putting up a very, very brave show of strength. It's showing restraint with all of its power, trying hard to push back the Russian troops. From the Ukrainian President Zelensky to hundreds of civilians, the battle is now to save their motherland.
Put simply, it is a war between David and Goliath. Here is a comparison. Russia's military manpower outnumbers Ukraine's by more than 4 times. Moscow's defense budget is 13 times bigger than Ukraine's. Kiev has a handful of fighter jets and Kremlin has hundreds. As battles rage across Ukraine, including in the capital city Kiev, the Ukrainian army is putting up a brave fight against the Russian army. It's all hands on the deck. From civilians to President Zelensky, hundreds have joined the fight to save their motherland.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут. Всі ми тут, наші військові тут, громадяни суспільства тут, всі ми тут. Захищаємо нашу незалежність, нашу державу. І так буде й далі. Слава нашим захисникам, слава нашим захисницям. Слава Україні!
The video on your screen is from Kherson city of Ukraine. A civilian stood in front of a large Russian armored vehicle convoy and tried to block their way. Ukraine's own Tiananmen Square moment. The convoy did indeed make its way, but the message was clear: you're not welcome. In another resistance video from the Obolon district of Kiev, civilians are seen arming themselves with weapons to take on the mighty Russian army. The image of exemplary bravery comes amidst Ukrainian President Zelensky's call to join the resistance. The civilian resistance has left Russia fuming. Moscow is accusing Ukraine of using citizens as human shields.
Your nationalist government employs the same tactics as terrorists. They want to use you as a human shield.
Meanwhile, the eastern city of Ukraine, Mariupol, comes under heavy Russian fire. Hundreds are fleeing the city.
We are currently at the Mariupol railway station and the effort is to get to Kiev. Will that be possible? We still do not know. This train is meant to go to Kiev. This is the train that was supposed to leave about an hour ago. It hasn't left just as yet. Our train comes after that. Now the effort is to get to Kiev. In between, it is said that there are some obstructions, not on the railway track but on the road. Apparently, the Russian forces are also moving forward. But right now here at the railway station, a large number of people just want to get out of Mariupol. They're taking this train just to get to the villages. This train stops twice en route. They want to go to one of the safer locations because villages are not being targeted, civilians are not being targeted by the Russian forces. At least that is the impression that these people have. So they just want to quickly get out of here, get out of Mariupol, get to a safe location and be out of harm's way. With cameraman Pawan Kumar at the Mariupol railway station in eastern Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today.